So welcome to the Proper Choice for Senior Homeowners. Yes, that's right. American Realty Seniors Division. I am Hilary Walker. I have a guest with me today. Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, good to see you.
You too. Thank you for being on board with us today. This segment is all about providing information to my senior homeowners or people who are looking to buy or sell homes who are in their older years, because that's my primary work. I primarily have clients who are over the age of 65, realtor, author of real estate books, and instructor of real estate classes. I am a seniors real estate specialist, for those of you who don't know. And as I said, it is primarily working with older adults. And yes, that's a thing. There is a market for older adults to have a service that is specifically for them. In my journey of doing this work, I come across so many people. I meet interesting people. I meet people in walks of life that sometimes I just never knew existed. For me, meeting Jeannie was a natural occurrence, actually, because I already was a seniors real estate specialist and I was looking for information about how to have more tools available to my clients. And so I would like to welcome you to say hello to Genie McGee, reverse mortgage planner. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I've introduced you kind of just by saying you're a reverse mortgage planner, but would you tell us a little bit more about what that actually means?
Of course, I am first of all a wife and a mother, and actually have a degree in design, but I fell into offering education and origination on the reverse mortgage about 17 years ago. And I fell in love. I love the work I do. I love my older adult clients. And it really is my privilege to be able to provide good information to my older adult clients and then help them access their housing wealth through either reverse mortgage refinance or help them get in a house that's more appropriate for them as they age through a reverse mortgage for purchase. And that's kind of how you and I got together, because we both serve the same demographic,
Right.
and we have complementary services. So
Yeah, she's good at what she does. And let me tell you this, she is very specific about her work. She cares about people, and she is so good about explaining what this is. Now, I'm going to tell you now, we're not going to go into the whole explanation of everything reverse mortgage, but I think you should take this moment to at least listen to part of her presentation, just as a way of providing yourself with knowledge and information. Because as I call it, the street patrol, Jeannie calls it the
street committee.
Okay, I keep trying to remember it's the committee, not the patrol.
It doesn't matter. It's the street
Right.
people. It's the people on the street, right?
Right, right. And so I always say is everybody knows someone or a story that they heard in the news or something that happened regarding reverse mortgages. And that is not always the way the story should be told. The story should be told from the experience, because there are some very specific pieces of information that if you don't follow through with those things, then the hardship story could be told, but nobody knows the truth as to why it got there. And that's always surprising to me. So let's dig into this. So you told us a little bit about how you fell in love with the business. Tell us who you work with. We saw the title up as Fairway, and why you chose Fairway.
Fairway is a very unique company that has very unique folks that work there. And so when I was looking for a company to land at, it was interesting that Fairway has been around about 24 years. And there are loan officers at Fairway that have been with the company that long, which is unusual in the mortgage industry. So that piqued my interest that something special was happening at Fairway, where loan officers who are notorious about jumping from company to company felt like they could stay here and have a home. I've been here 4 years now, and now I understand it's a very unique culture. We are super focused on our core values, which include things like having fun and speed to respond. But one of the biggest ones we have is to serve our clients the fair way. That's where the name comes from. being fair to people, being honest and respectful, and giving them the best product and the best customer service that we possibly can. So that's a core value that kind of permeates the culture of Fairway. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
That's awesome. I actually had never heard the Fairway part of the story before. So
Really?
it makes absolute sense, the fair way, and that's what you do. So wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell me, who are your best clients, I guess? Who would you most serve?
So we like to say, and I agree with this, we like to say our best clients are clients who are anybody 62 or older, 50% equity in their home, still making a mortgage payment. Anybody 62 or older, 50% equity in their home, still making a mortgage payment. Now, it doesn't mean I don't serve folks that have less than 50% or that aren't making a mortgage payment because they own their house free and clear. But my best clients are those clients. And then they have options. When they have equity, they have options. And one of the options they have is, I ask them, is the home you're in appropriate for you as you age? Maybe it's great at 62, but what about when you turn 75 or 82? Will it be appropriate? Does it have stairs? Is it too big? All the things that you think about. Is there 2-story or is it a 1-story? Is it where you want, where you see yourself as you age? So that's a big question. And when you have equity, you get to make choices. You have lots of choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because a lot of the clients I do work with are those who are moving from the family home that they've been in for many, many years. And it usually does have 2 stories, or it's usually too big for their needs. And so I talk about it as a way to say, is this home still conducive to your needs? And usually the answer is no, for whatever reason. And there's a multitude of reasons. One of the most common reasons is health and ability to maneuver around that home. And so it leads me to say, why are you still there? And that answers the question as to why they're now thinking of moving. So interestingly, that leads to something that most people don't know about, which is making use of a HECM.
Mm-hmm. So a HECM is a reverse mortgage. It's the formal name for a reverse mortgage. So the formal name is Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, HECM, HECM, right? And so a HECM is a reverse mortgage, and you can use a HECM in 2 ways. You can use it as a refinance if you're in a home that is appropriate for you, and you just need to pull out equity. Maybe you need to pay off a mortgage. Maybe you need to delay filing for Social Security. Maybe you need to supplement your income. Maybe you need to pay for long-term care. Maybe you want to pull out equity from your home so you can leave your other assets invested longer, so you can have a bigger legacy, right? So there's lots of strategies, but you also can use a HECM to purchase a home. So one of the first things I ask people, what are you trying to accomplish? Mm-hmm. And often they'll say, well, I want to do some upgrades, or I want to pay off my mortgage. And I always bring up every time, no matter what they tell me, did you know you can also use the reverse mortgage to purchase a house? And that inevitably leads to a conversation, because most people don't know it. They don't know it. They didn't think about it. They didn't dream it, because they didn't know they could use it that way. And honestly, the kind of house you need in your 60s and 70s is different than the house you buy in your 30s and 40s. It is. And because usually you're buying in your 30s and 40s, it's big, you're raising children, you need as much space. In your 60s and 70s, you often have an empty nest. You don't need the stairs. You don't need all those bedrooms and bathrooms. So you're just at a different place in your life. Right. So that question is a super important question. Yeah.
Good, good. I'm glad you're making it very clear, and I'm hoping we'll get some feedback from people who do watch this video to tell us how clear that is, because the point being, as I started with, is find an expert who will give you the information that is going to benefit your personal circumstance. Not every single person can use this product. Not every single person should use the product. So having somebody like Jeannie explain to you that this can work in this way for you and your family, if you're still in a home that's not working for you, is really important. You have to speak to someone who can explain it to you. The street committee is not going to be able to explain those details to you. So I plead to those of you who are interested in learning something new, this is definitely an option to learn about. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's really hard to make good decisions, sound decisions, without good sound information, right? It's just, you know, you can't make your best decisions without good information. So you don't want to get information from the street or from your church or from your cousin about anything that's important. That's from health issues, financial issues, you know, what you should eat. I mean, all the things that are important, you want to go to people who actually know what to tell you,
yeah,
right? If you have heart disease, you're not going to go, you know, down to the chiropractor.
right.
I mean, you're going to go to a cardiologist, right? Because you need good, solid information. So that's what I tell people about, you know, the reverse mortgage. You've heard a lot of different things, some of which may or may not be true, but go and get the facts. Then you can make a decision, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that simple. Get the facts and then make your informed decision, because you have the details to do that. So there is a demonstration that Jeannie does that I've had it recorded, or somebody had recorded it and shared it many times before, but I love it. I think it's a very simple way of explaining how this works. I call it the 3-bucket demonstration. I'm going to allow Jeannie to explain what it actually is.
Well, believe it or not, it's called the 3-bucket demonstration. That's what it is. So we talk about people having 3 buckets of money, and we use buckets to show that. So we talk about people having the first bucket, which is monthly income, right? So you have monthly income as a retiree. I don't know if you can see that. See, it says monthly income.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, monthly income. So this bucket is usually the bucket that is your Social Security. It may be an annuity. It may be your part-time employment. It could be a pension. Maybe you're taking distributions from your retirement portfolio. It could be a variety of things, right? But this is what you get every month. You depend on it. This is what you live off of. So this is your first bucket. The second bucket is the bucket of savings. This is the money that you've been giving your financial planner. Maybe you have money in a money market. Maybe you have some CDs, right? You have some stocks and bonds, some mutual funds. Maybe you have maybe you have a lot of money in this bucket. Maybe you started saving right out of college and you have, you know, $2 or $3 million in here. You know, people have different amounts in here. Some people have nothing in here. But this is the bucket that you saved all your life, your working years, so that when it was time to retire, you could retire and you wouldn't have to worry, right? Because you have all those years ahead of you where you're not going to be working. Then lastly, there's a bucket that most people don't think about, but is a really important bucket. And that's the bucket of what we call housing equity or housing wealth, right? We have over 7 trillion with a T of equity tied up in our homes. And that's not all Americans. That's just Americans who are 62 or older, right? Wow. 7.4 trillion with a T of equity built up in our homes that it's in our house, but guess what? You cannot spend it, right? You don't spend equity, right? You can't pull off the door and take it down to Kroger, right? You can't take the window off and spend it. It doesn't work that way. You have to change equity into money, right? And I have another little thing. I won't do it now, but if we have time, I'll show you how we do that. But the point is, you have these 3 buckets: monthly income, your savings, and your equity. And lots of times people are taking 40% of retirees, those who are 62 or older, are taking money out of this monthly income bucket and putting it into this housing equity bucket every month. It's called a mortgage payment, right? 40% folks who are in retirement are actually still making a mortgage payment, right? And when they take money out of this bucket and put it in this bucket every month, it's locked, they lock it up. They take liquid money that they could spend at Kroger, lock it up in this bucket, because once you make the mortgage payment, right, you can't call up Wells Fargo and ask Wells Fargo for the money back. It doesn't work that way. So you've locked it up. Now it's important that you do that if you have a mortgage, because if you don't, they can foreclose on your house. But there's a better way, right? Instead of making a mortgage payment, and by the way, before I move on, some people are actually taking money out of this bucket, put in this bucket. Believe it or not, people are taking money out of their retirement savings, out of their mutual funds, right? Out of their stocks and bonds, their portfolio, to lock up and put in here, just so they can have a mortgage payment. They can make their mortgage payment.
So let me say something real quick.
Yes.
So to me, what I'm hearing is they take the money out of the place where they could be using it and put it in the place where they can no longer use it. And so no interest is being earned or anything on it as it was when it was in the savings bucket.
Correct. They're taking money that's liquid, right, and locking it up such that they don't have access to it. Now, they may have more equity in this bucket, right? It builds equity, but guess what? Equity means nothing to you when you're in retirement because you can't spend it. Like equity, even if you have 100% equity in your home and you own it free and clear, so you can't spend it. It's not spendable. Equity is not spendable. So it's not really working for you. It's an asset that's not really working for you. Yes.
Interesting.
So what I like to say is that you can convert that mortgage into a reverse mortgage such that you stop the madness. You can stop taking money out of this bucket or out of this bucket. Stop putting it in this bucket. You can stop it by doing a reverse mortgage, especially if you're 62 or older, still making a mortgage payment, and you have 50% equity or more. You have the opportunity to convert that current mortgage into a reverse mortgage, still a mortgage, but there's no required payments. Now, the thing that people don't realize is that when you convert a traditional mortgage into a reverse mortgage, you can still make payments, right? People are like, why would you make a payment? Well, there's some strategies that if you want to continue to make a mortgage payment with a reverse mortgage, you can. Guess what? Let's say you make a mortgage payment for 5 years because you're 62 and you plan to work until you're 67. You're like, I'm going to make a mortgage payment. I'm just going to convert it. That money that you put in that mortgage payment with a reverse mortgage, you have access to, right? You can pull that money back out when you make those payments, and the money you put in there goes into a line of credit that's growing as it sits there. So for those 5 years you've made those payments, it's like almost making a payment to yourself, almost like an emergency fund. You put money into an emergency fund that's growing and you have access to it. So I think that allows a lot of flexibility.
So wait a minute, that should blow somebody's mind right there.
Right.
It really should. And I so much so that I know people can rewind this video and look at it again, but just say that one more time. They can stay at work for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And during that time, they will do what?
They can continue to make a mortgage payment, right? They don't have to with a reverse, but they can. And the beauty of that, now there's several things that happen when you do that, but one of the big things is you're putting money, when you make a mortgage payment, it goes into a line of credit that's growing, and you have access to that money in the future, anytime you want. And by the way, you can make those payments every month. You can make them quarterly. You can make them yearly. You can make them whenever you feel like it. Whenever you put money in there, it's like putting money into a savings account is what it is.
Quick question. Is it taxable?
It is not taxable. Any money you put into or get from a reverse mortgage is not taxable because it's equity. That's the other thing that's important, because people use their housing wealth instead of taking money out of this bucket when there's a COVID-19 pandemic. Instead of taking money out of this bucket when you've lost your job or your husband dies and paying taxes on qualified money, right? You can take it out of this bucket, leave this bucket invested. It needs to stay invested, right? Take it out of this bucket. You can take less out because you don't have to pay taxes on it, right? So,
wow.
yeah.
Wow, that right there. There is so much to this that it's mind-blowing. People have written books about this who are not even in the business of reverse mortgages, talking about how valuable it is to our current baby boomers and older generations who are going through the wealth struggle because of 2008's downturn, because of lack of social security, because of lack of pension. And who knows what 2020 might have caused a lack of as well. We don't know that yet. But for that reason, there is a lot of research out there that says this is a very good wealth management tool.
It really is. And you know, you said several things in terms of what people are facing. They're facing, you know, unsure about the continuation of Social Security. They're facing, you know, less return on the investments that they do have. One of the lowest periods ever of return. Yeah. They faced the baby boomers 2008. They saw the real estate market go crash. And now we're facing this pandemic, which we don't know how that's going to affect the real estate market or any of the markets. Some of my clients have seen up to a 30% drop in their portfolios, right? Mm-hmm. So, but the one thing that they also are facing is that people are living longer. I mean, it's a great thing, but the longer you live, the more money you need to fund that retirement. So right. People are living so long that their biggest concern is outliving their income, outliving their money, you know,
So this is one of the ways that you can find, well, this is one of the tools that you could use to help that time of living longer and helping your funds to stretch a little bit better than they might have done without it. Again, it's not for everyone, but it's definitely something that, you know, those of you who are interested or curious would want to check out. So Jeannie, I'm going to say thank you, because every time I listen to any of your presentations, I get another little something. And trust me, y'all, I've been listening to a lot of Jeannie's presentations. We do classes together. I invite her in to talk to some of my realtor teams. I will send them along to her classes and CE continuation classes that we do, that we have to have. Jeannie teaches those. So a wonderful woman who's full of passion for what she does, has the knowledge for what she provides, and is just happy to help you all. So please do not hesitate to give her a call. Jeannie, are there any specific tips that you might leave our audience with? Something very simple that, while you've given us a really great demonstration, but just something that they might think about.
So the thing that I always come back to is I have a special affinity to women. And one, I am a woman, right? But I also have done a lot of research on how vulnerable women are. And it's primarily because of the kind of lifestyle we lead. We're the ones who, if we're having families, we're the ones who take time off to care for our family. It's great. I did it for 10 years, but that means you're not putting into usually any kind of retirement funding. You're not giving towards your Social Security. We're also the ones who, if we have older adult parents, we take time off to care for those parents. It's the women who do that work. Primarily, there are men that do it, but primarily it's women who take time off, either cut back their hours or totally take time off from their jobs, their careers, to care for those older parents. And I did that with my own mother. So did my sister. They call it daughter care. Mm. We live longer, right? We live longer. And so we outlive our husbands generally. That's just a fact, right? We make less during our lifetime, right? So we're super vulnerable. And many of my clients are women whose husbands, they buy a house and they qualify for it based on both of their incomes. And usually the husband's income is higher. And then he predeceases her and she still has a mortgage. And she's trying to pay that same mortgage because they don't modify the mortgage just because your spouse dies. So you're still responsible for that mortgage. And so, you know, women are super vulnerable, right? We live an average of 7 years after our husbands die. So that could be 7 of your best years, or it could be 7 of your worst years. And so for women, and not to exclude the guys, because I serve everybody, but I just see women who are sometimes struggling for the first time in their whole life at the end of their life, which is a travesty in my opinion. So
So what do we do? What is that something that those same women, that, because I've come across them too. I know people who are Generation X's, actually. They're not of a retirement age yet, but are living a similar life. And, you know, what would I tell my friend tomorrow about, you know, what could you do to somehow protect yourself through that end of stage process?
Get information. Oh, be curious about information. Don't abdicate especially financial information to your husband. Like, you have to, as a woman who will probably outlive her husband, you have to be involved and know what's happening and ask questions. Don't let anybody intimidate you and say, oh, your husband will take care of it. Nope, nope. You ask questions, you get information, because I just believe most people, if they ask the right questions, they can make the right choices. So,
yeah, awesome. Awesome, good. And it's not to say that your husbands aren't giving you the right information, but if you're not fully involved in that process during your time together, it's harder when they are gone. And I'll tell you a quick story. I met with a lady who had called me in to help her sell the house, and she said, excuse my kitchen. And she had a large 12-seater dining room table, and it was covered in paper. Her husband had recently died. He took care of everything. And she said, the one thing I knew was there was a safe and a filing cabinet in the basement, and that's where all of our records were. But now that I have it here, and she showed me her table, I don't know what to do with it. This lady was a school teacher, so it's not as though she was uneducated. So that's the piece that I would like people to understand, that it's really not that you're taking information away from your loved one who is in control of that area because they're good at it. It's just making sure you're aware of what you need to know as you move forward in life, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
So thank you for touching on that, Genie. It's a really important point. And just everything you say is, of course, is important.
Well, I don't know.
But thank you for joining me. This was really interesting.
Thank you for having me. What a joy. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. So I would like to put your screen back on. If you'd like to get in touch with her, you can do so by calling or emailing. I think your email address is not on there, Genie, but definitely you can call her, or you can reach out to us and we will provide an email address if that's your preferred way of getting in touch. But Genie, again, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to see you. I haven't seen you for probably quite a few weeks or so, huh? Maybe a couple of months?
Yeah, maybe a month, 1 month, I think.
Yeah, we'll get back together again soon. Thank you so much, Genie. You take care now.
Visit HilaryWalker.realtor. This specialist realtor provides essential services and knowledge for you or your parents who are baby boomers, aged 50 or more, or are seniors. Hilary is licensed in Georgia, but able to find you a great realtor in your area as well. Again, that website, HilaryWalker.realtor, HilaryWalker.realtor. Real estate is more than property. It's about people, and Hilary works to assist people in achieving their dreams and goals one house at a time. You can call her today at 678-609-8019 or visit her website for more information, HilaryWalker.Realtor. Hilary prides herself on providing a platinum customer service experience, so choose Hilary to provide the real estate solutions you need. Call now for a no-obligation consultation. If you're looking to relocate, or you're buying your first home, or you're selling your home to build a new home, Hilary Walker is dedicated to protect and serve your real estate interests. Real people, real results, real estate. One more time, that website, HilaryWalker.Realtor. Visit the website and contact her today.